Bitcoin, I proved the other night. If you guys remember last Wednesday, I think it was last Wednesday night, I did a chart of Bitcoin against a chart of the S&P 500. And going back quite a ways, you saw, a reversal in Bitcoin followed by a reversal in the SPY. And when Bitcoin got a reversal to the upside, the SPY a day or two later responded. Really interesting leading indicator. And so I have this as my number two. Bitcoin, NVIDIA is flat at the moment. It dumped yesterday. Obviously, gap up this morning. Oh, crap. I can't believe they're calling me now. All right, NVIDIA dropping a little bit more, down about a half a point. They're at 192,
Order
right at the
filled.
daily 20 right here. And Etsy just went through. Last tranche of Etsy just sold at 160. Somewhat of a key level here. I think it's even more critical is the daily 50. If and when NVIDIA loses the daily 50, it's game over. But for now, what you're what you're looking for when there is a bounce off of a somewhat of a sell-off or correction, the market takes a drop, a dump, and then it gets a gap up bump, like the bounce that we talk about. One of the things that you want to see as this pulls back, which it inevitably does, like it did this morning, not only do you want to see it hold the level before it goes higher, but you want to see if true buy the dippers come in at that level. Because isn't that the best time to buy? If the markets pull back deeply and then bounce the next day, what you're looking for is a little pullback off the bounce to see if that will hold or is it going to go back down again. Goes back down again, it does. But if it holds that level, in order to get a rally, you need real buyers to come in, not just the algos bouncing this thing around. So you want to know that the broad market is participating. They see what you can't see. They analyze what you can't analyze. They have the data that you don't have. So if true buying does come in and you see NVIDIA, Bitcoin, Microsoft start to, the big ticket names plus Bitcoin, and you see buying come into those names, that's real buying. That's organic. That's not synthetic algos only. So the algos can kick it up off of a gap, a gap down or a gap up, pull back, natural. And then maybe it holds, maybe it doesn't. Do you all understand what I'm talking about here? So you need some real buying, buy the dip buying. And if you don't get it right away after the bounce and pullback or the gap, like right away, then it ain't happening. In other words, if if you liked a stock that was doing if you liked a stock that was doing this, but you didn't want to buy it at the highs, what would you be waiting for? Anybody? I know Legacy doesn't like to chat much in the room, but can somebody participate a little? Thanks. Yeah, you wait for some kind of a pullback or a dip, right? Boom. So now wouldn't that be an opportune time for you? If you liked it here, you like it even more here, right? But you might say to yourself, well, but what if it's doing that? What if it's selling off? So I'm going to wait potentially on this pullback. Let me draw it better here. This is the chart you like, and then you gap down. And you're like, well, should I get it here? I liked it here. I like price better here, but, right? It's a big but. Is it going to go lower or will it hold? So let's just say it holds. Let's say it doesn't just hold. Let's say it gaps up the next morning in reaction. Well, and then, like you saw this morning, what happened? Boom, boom, boom. Close the gap, right? This is the critical part. So, number one is you have the sell off. Boom, here it is. Whatever you want, or an event, something, sell off, or an event, something that causes the gap, right? Number two is the bounce. after the gap. Number 3 is the gap close. Now it's trying to close the gap. Number 4, does it hold or not? This is where we are sort of now, right? If it does hold, what would you want to see? You'd want to see real buyers, because if you were a buyer and you loved it here and you see the gap, you get the pop and the gap fill. Now you're waiting. If you don't get it here, as it holds this gap level, like SPY 683-ish, which I'll show you in a second. If you don't like it here, where would you like it? Right, Bud, this makes sense? You liked it over here. Now it gapped down, gapped up as like a dead cat bounce. This is an algo reaction. And then you get this, gap fill, right? Or gap close, gap fill. And then it holds. So wouldn't this be, all of you, wouldn't this be the best time to buy right here where my X is? Like proof that it's not going to fall further. I like this stock. If you don't see buying here, like where NVIDIA is right now, if you don't get it here, you ain't getting it anywhere. And that causes another drop. Well, if you get 2 drops like that, now you're starting to look at a potential correction of the market. If this is happening to NVIDIA, Microsoft, dare I say, Amazon and Google, right? And Bitcoin. So this is what I look for. And you've heard me say it in the comments. After something gaps down, you get the initial reaction, the bounce, boom, little bit of a gap fill, blah, blah, blah. And then I always say, if it holds, we do this. If it doesn't, So, and the reason why is because if it holds, at that point, you want to see buyers come in. Because if you start to see it drop from there without buying, there ain't nothing that's going to save that ship. Not the algos and not any organic buying either.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video from Trade With Me Now. Make sure to go ahead and like this video and subscribe to our channel so you make sure that you catch our next video right when it's released. Also, if you have a question or comment, please leave that in the comments section below. And of course, if you want to learn more about Trade With Me Now or join our community of profitable traders, go to tradewithmenow.com. There's also a link in the description below.